How Osho became a worldwide phenomenon. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. Hello Aluxers, welcome back. Ever heard of Osho? If not, let this video be your introduction, as you're certain to hear some more about him and his movement in the coming years. Osho started out as a small-town philosopher with controversial ideas and new meditation techniques, and he became one of the most notable spiritual leaders of the 20th century, especially in India. Not everyone agrees with his ideas, but that's one reason why his movement has attracted so much attention and has drawn in so many people worldwide. Today, we're telling you the story of how Osho became a worldwide phenomenon, but first, a little background. Who is Osho? Osho, also known as Rajneesh, was born Chandra Mohan Jain in the Bhopal state of British India. His epitaph reads, "He was never born and never died, but only visited this planet Earth between December 11, 1931 and January 19, 1990. He was a guru, philosopher, and the leader of the Rajneesh Movement during his lifetime. For 9 years, he taught philosophy at the University of Jabalpur before he became a full-time leader of the Rajneesh Movement. There's so much more to the story of Osho, but before we get ahead of ourselves, let's go back to the start. Beginnings. Rajneesh claimed he had become spiritually enlightened on March 21, 1952, while sitting underneath a tree in a garden in Jabalpur. He was 21 years old at the time. After gaining enlightenment, he went on to earn his master's and then became a popular teacher of philosophy. At the same time, he began touring around India giving talks as a spiritual leader. Common topics he spoke about included the idea that orthodox Indian religions are dead, Gandhi is a masochist who worships poverty, and capitalism is the way for India to move forward. His ideas were often controversial, but more and more people began following him. Wealthy businessmen began paying him for individual consultations, and these expanded into meditation camps that would last anywhere from 3 to 10 days. In 1966, he quit his job at the university to devote himself full-time to his spiritual pursuits and his followers, who he called sannyasas. He was ready to fulfill his vision. The vision. Osho's primary vision was to get people to step away from what he saw as meaningless rituals and empty traditions of established religions and find a new way to evolve spiritually through meditation, love, mindfulness, freedom of sexual expression, and celebrations. He envisioned the creation of a new kind of man that could transcend convention. If this did not happen, he said the world would come to an end, and this vision would come from the basis of his movement. The Rajneesh Movement. In the early 1970s, the Rajneesh Movement began to take shape. Rajneesh initiated a group of disciples who changed their names and began wearing the traditional orange dress of certain Hindu holy men. Each disciple also carried a locket with Rajneesh's picture inside of it. Rajneesh did not encourage his followers to worship him, as he was just a facilitator and not a prophet or a god. He set up a base in an apartment in Bombay, where he often met with individuals and small groups. It was here that he first introduced his ideas to Western visitors. In 1974, a Greek shipping heiress helped him buy a 6-acre property with 2 adjoining houses in Pune, India. He made this into his ashram, where he would preach for the next 7 years. Many of his talks were recorded, and his ideas began to spread around the world. He soon began to see an influx of Western visitors to his ashram. In his 7 years there, as many as 50,000 Westerners came to seek out enlightenment. Rajneesh led his followers in his own creation of dynamic meditation, which involved alternating physical activity and periods of stillness. He spoke out against organized religions, but integrated various elements of a wide range of religions into his spiritual teachings, including Hinduism, Christianity, and Buddhism, along with New Age therapy and meditation practices. A number of rumors began to circulate about the practices in and around the ashram, including ones involving drug use, violence, prostitution, and unpaid hard labor. Still, the ashram continued to draw people in from around the world, and there were approximately 30,000 visitors per year, with the majority being Europeans and Americans. But soon, the movement would face significant difficulties. The struggle. In 1981, Osho began a 3.5-year period of public silence. Around this time, the Indian government began refusing visas to foreigners who stated the ashram was their primary reason for visiting India. The government also canceled the ashram's tax-exempt status and demanded $5 million in back pay. Osho was also attacked with a knife by a Hindu fundamentalist at his ashram. All of these circumstances, in addition to the growing needs of his ashram, led to Osho transporting his entire movement to a $5.75 million commune in Wasco County, Oregon, in the United States. Though he came to the U.S. on a medical visa, he never sought out medical treatment. The over 64,000-acre commune was given the nickname Rancho Rajneesh. Many of the locals were vocally opposed to the presence of Rajneesh and his followers, who were considered to be a cult, and they quickly found themselves involved in a number of legal battles over land use. Rajneesh decided to incorporate his land as the city of Rajneeshpuram in 1982. It became a thriving town with 3,000 residents, an 88,000-square-foot meeting hall, and a private airstrip. Rajneesh became secluded in his period of silence, and his interaction with his followers was mostly limited to a periodic Rolls Royce drive-by ceremony. He didn't break his public silence until November 1984. On October 28, 1985, Rajneesh and a few of his followers were arrested on a rented jet at a North Carolina airstrip. The federal authorities believed the plane was on the way to Bermuda, so Rajneesh and others could avoid prosecution for immigration fraud. He pled guilty and was forced to pay $400,000 in fines and to leave the U.S. and go back to his home country. Return to India. Rajneesh returned to India and was greatly celebrated by his Indian followers. He then tried to travel but was refused entry into Sweden, Switzerland, the UK, Canada, Spain, and other countries. So he returned to the ashram in Pune in January 1987. It was then he developed new meditation practices and began to lead meditations for the first time in 10 years. In late 1987, his health began to deteriorate and he accused the American authorities of poisoning him while he was in custody. In 1989, he decided to change his name to Osho. As his health began to fail, he then accused some of his audience members of afflicting him with evil magic. He died of heart failure on January 19, 1990 at the age of 58, but his legacy would live on. Worldwide phenomenon. Since Osho's death, public opinion about him has shifted in India and around the world. A number of Indians now regard him as a significant religious figure alongside Mahatma Gandhi. The entire volume of Osho's many writings and speeches have been preserved in India's National Parliament in New Delhi. Over 650 books have been written in Osho's name, many of which are copies of his recorded lessons. These helped his ideas about all parts of human existence spread throughout the world. His books have been translated into more than 60 languages and have made bestseller lists in South Korea and Italy. Osho's movement, in his absence, has shed most of its controversy connected with it, and his ideas have been embraced in the market of new religions. The ashram that Osho left behind in Pune has become one of India's main tourist attractions, renamed as the Osho International Meditation Resort. Visitors there can learn about a variety of spiritual techniques from different religious traditions, and there's also a spa, a gym, a pool, tennis courts, and a jacuzzi. In Nepal, there are at least 60 Rajneesh centers, which serve over 45,000 initiated disciples of Osho. What's more, there are at least 20 other Osho centers worldwide. There's an Osho radio station with 24/7 live streaming and an Osho television station with many of Osho's recordings available on demand. Osho meditation retreats are held in Atlanta, New York, Dallas, Washington, D.C., and several other American cities every year. In these ways and others, Osho continues to make a significant impact throughout the world. The lesson. One lesson we can learn from Osho is that not everyone has to be on board with your idea in order for you to make an impact. Osho's ideas and movement were heavily criticized in his lifetime and beyond, but he stayed true to what he believed in and convinced many others along the way to support and embrace his movement. If someone as controversial as Osho can make such a significant impact worldwide, imagine what you can do with your ideas. And if you want to learn some more about Osho's ideas, check out The Secret of Secrets, The Secret of the Golden Flower by Osho. This book reveals Osho's teachings on how to not remain a seed, but grow into a golden flower. You can hear this inspiring book on Audible and also save yourself $15 if you go to Alux.com/freebook and sign up for the first time. That way, you can get the audiobook version for free thanks to our partnership with Audible. The quote. While researching his story, we came across this incredible quote from Osho we'd like to share with you, and it goes like this. Each person comes into this world with a specific destiny. He has something to fulfill, some message has to be delivered, some work has to be completed. You're not here accidentally. You are here meaningfully. There is a purpose behind you. The whole intends to do something through you. So, Aluxer, what's your destiny? What's your purpose? If you don't have an immediate answer, it's okay. Take some time to really think about this. Now, before you go, we're curious. Could you ever see yourself taking a trip to the Osho International Meditation Resort? Let us know in the comments. And of course, for sticking with us until the end, here's your bonus. Rajneesh owned 98 Rolls Royces, all of which were donated by his followers. This is how he became known in the US as the Rolls Royce Guru. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxer. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. If you want more, we handpicked these videos you might enjoy, or head over to Alux.com for the best in fine living content on the planet. Be a part of the largest community of luxury enthusiasts in the world and tell your story.